look around you. Where you are right now, as you're watching this, look around your house. There are tools you have you're not using that can actually fetch you a whole lot of funds.
Forget about what people are saying. Don't listen to what people are saying. What people say about you or think about you is none of your business.
Many entrepreneurs want to build a business at the same time feed from the business. It cannot work. In Lagos,
but you just get to do something. Stop waiting for manna to fall from heaven.
Never you at any point think you have 100% strength. It's not possible. So as a leader, you focus on your strength 100%, then your weakness, you get someone to fill it in. Now, the person you are bringing in, ensure that the person's weakness is your strength.
You have to come with something to the table. So what are you coming with as a woman? What are you bringing? Is it your intellect? Is it your beauty? We all know that beauty doesn't help anybody. If not, I'll be where Dangote is today.
Please, if you are listening to me, don't try and sell what is not sellable if you don't have the funds to push it.
Thank you for connecting with Simeon Ononobi today. Live sessions hold every Tuesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Please turn on post notifications for live updates.
Hello, welcome to Connecting with Simeon. Today, we'll connect with Simeon. We'll be with an amazing guy. He is wonderful. He is someone that I respect a lot. Very young dude. He's a doctor and he's doing a lot in the tech ecosystem. And I'm going to be introducing him soon. Yeah, he's already in the studio, so I'll probably just bring him up. Neto is in the studio. Neto is my guest today on Connect with Simeon. Neto, how are you doing? How is the weather?
I'm good, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to be on this.
Cool. I passed around his profile and everybody was like, yeah, I need to connect with this. I need to learn more from this guy. So just a quick preview of what the program is about. Connect with Simeon is a program that, I decided to bring up where people could connect. So the idea is to bring about, young guys, people that are doing great stuff in the ecosystem and making Nigeria great and that are not being sung yet, bringing investors together, bringing mentors, bringing, business owners, even staff, bringing them to learn something new, connect, because if we can network, we can bring up ourselves. During this program, we've had connections. Just last week, one of our our guest last week got an expansion into Lagos, and just by connecting on this show, we've also had people that have mingled with all our other participants on this program. We've had 3 people that have been mentored at the moment in the cake business by Daniel. We have a lot of things that have been happening. So people are connecting, people are doing great stuff. And if one person can bring up 10, can bring up 100, we would be a better place. We should stop complaining about what is happening and just start doing stuff. I'm bringing people like Neto to show that Nigeria, yes, though tough, yes, the system, running a business in Nigeria can be super tough. But some people are doing some extraordinary things. Neto, please kindly introduce yourself, because I don't even want to start reeling down all those wonderful accomplishments that you've done so far. So just reel it out for us. Tell us about yourself, tell us about who you are and stuff.
Well, I'm thanks very much, Simeon. I'm not one to reel out my own accomplishments, so I think we may have to skip that part. But I will say a little bit about myself. I'm an internal medicine physician, and I run a digital health startup called Wellahealth, where we are providing affordable financing solutions for healthcare across Africa. And so that is, I guess, my summary of what I do now.
Yeah, I mean, Neto, I know you're super young because I mean I've had to deal with you not this year. You were part of Google Launchpad. You've been part of that space. You've gotten some grants, gotten some investors, and you're growing something like, and you're a medical doctor. Why did you not just think about just going straight to just doing a practice? Why are you doing what you're doing today?
That's a great question, and I think that's a question even I ask myself a lot of times because of how difficult it is. Why don't I quit and go do something more predictable, something easier? And I'm still trying to figure out that answer. But I guess I will start at the origin of wanting to become a doctor. And I mean, the cliche for every doctor is, I want to help people, and I certainly did want to help people, and that's why I got into medicine in the first place. And so going through medical school and understanding the challenges with healthcare, I came to the realization that I didn't want to be the kind of doctor that was stuck behind the desk, right? And so what people say growing up, I said I wanted to be a doctor, but when you go into medical school, that's just the beginning. There's 50 different things you can do. And so I found that yes, I enjoyed seeing patients on a day-to-day basis, but I very quickly understood that was it was very limiting. I wanted to have the biggest impact. For some reason, there was something inside me that just motivated me to try and have massive impact. And when I say massive impact, I'm talking of the magnitude of millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, right? And I knew very early on that sitting behind the desk in a clinic was going to limit my ability to make that impact. And so I came across in medicine what people do with if you have this kind of goals, you look at population. So the doctors of the population are called public health doctors. When I used to tell people that, nobody knew what a public health doctor was, but COVID-19 has changed all of that. Because everybody that you're seeing on your screen is a public health doctor, essentially, right? Because this is what they live for: pandemics, preventing population level disasters related to healthcare, preventing health for populations, promoting health, those kinds of things. And a lot of times they look to, really the root cause. And that was what really attracted me to public health. And so the father of public health is a guy called John Snow. And back in the 17th century, he was able to figure out that for you to stop cholera outbreaks, you just needed to map out, people that had it. And a lot of times, or actually, it was always connected to one central water system. And so once he was able to lock up that water system, then the cholera cases disappeared. And so rather than treating the individual person, if you find the ultimate root cause of the problem, then you can manage it for a lot of people, prevent them, save a lot of costs. So that's really, the interest that I had coming into all of this.
Cool. Your startup is called Wellahealth. And I know a bit about it, but I would love people that are watching, because you have a lot of people that have just come out of school. I know a particular pharmacist that just finished school and he's asking himself, what's the next step for me? How do I become that next big thing, solving problems for people? I know a lot of doctors who are looking for, how do I use technology to actually grow what I'm doing? How do I make technology, the mainstay of what we're doing? And we've seen health. Health is like something growing. I know 3 other startups: Helium Health, I know Wellahealth, I know 54G,
yep,
that are doing. You guys have raised over $20 million. And I'm asking myself, what is it that a normal doctor doesn't know that these guys know differently and are doing differently? Tell us a bit about Wellahealth. What do you guys actually do?
Okay, so at Wellahealth, we provide affordable health financing options for Africans. And so the central problem we're looking to solve is that of out-of-pocket payments for healthcare. If you look across Africa, the vast majority of us, that's about 80% of us, pay for healthcare from our pockets. What that means is that when you feel sick, you reach into your pocket and you bring out cash and you pay, the doctor, the pharmacist, whoever. Now that is contingent on you having cash in your pocket, right? Unfortunately, a lot of times, a lot of us don't have that much money to have that money in our pocket when we need it. And so, we go through a lot of workarounds. So a lot of people will delay going to a healthcare outlet so they don't have to spend. If they do go, they look for the cheapest, the most affordable, the most accessible, not even thinking about quality. And so because of that process, you have a lot of challenges and complications from poor healthcare access. You have a lot of people just doing things that are not really great for them. And that's 80% of us across Africa. In Nigeria, the value of that market out of pocket spending is about $7 billion. So it's a huge problem. Now, why is that a really big problem? Is okay, well, if people have the money, why don't they just spend it? The problem is that that demand is not organized. And so if you look at it from a provider side, they have challenges as well, right? So if I open up a clinic and I want to invest in a really expensive equipment, it's really difficult for me because I do not know for sure if people will come and access that equipment, right? So that I can amortize that cost over a large number of people. And so because of that, you see that the quality of healthcare in Nigeria is actually quite low because that organized demand isn't there to funnel a constant number of people to help the healthcare providers invest. And so that is the big problem, is that our healthcare spending is a lot. I mean, $7 billion is not small. It's just poorly organized and it's out of pocket, right? Um, so what we're doing is helping to organize that healthcare through a series of products. One is a microinsurance product. And if you look at the breakdown for the $7 billion that Nigerians spend out of pocket for healthcare, $3 billion of that is spent on malaria care. So overwhelmingly, malaria is the biggest reason why people access healthcare in Nigeria. The stats say 1 in 2 of us have at least one case every year. And if you survey people and ask them what is their most pressing healthcare concern, 80% will say malaria. So there's a big elephant in the room around healthcare in Nigeria and healthcare spending, and that's related to malaria. And it's provided an affordable microinsurance product that covers malaria care. So you can get access to testing, treatment, and follow-up in a way that's of high quality, and you don't have to pay out of pocket all the time. You pay a small fee every month, and then when you need that care, you can access that care. So that's one. Now, on top of that, we're adding several other services, right? Hospitalization cover, where if you go into hospital for any procedures or you're unwell, you can get some cash back. Again, depending on the premium that you pay, it tells how much cash back you get. And then it also has some funeral cover. So if somebody passes away, the next of kin gets some money. So that is the insurance product. So it's really affordable. It's about $2 a month, and they can get benefits of over $200. So really, really great product. The other products then that we provide.
Wow, wait. So let's take it back a bit. So a doctor finds out that almost $3 billion is spent on malaria care.
Mm-hmm.
Over $7 billion is spent annually, and this is our out-of-pocket expenses.
Exactly.
And you thought to yourself, wait, this is so much money. Why just organize this thing well? And I mean, I know myself. If I'm feverish right now, it's just that COVID is available. So feverish, nobody wants to feverish right now. But but I mean, if last December I was feverish, I would probably just go down to the clinic or go to the pharmacies and buy malaria drugs. Now, whether it's malaria or not, I don't really know, but I just feel it has to be malaria. Now, what you're saying is, if I hear you correctly, between 500 and 600 bucks naira, I can get that kind of insurance monthly, where I can walk into any pharmacy or any hospital, get drugs, and go.
Yes.
And this is something that, I mean, I like the part of the cash back. You say I get up over almost 100,000 naira cash back. I mean, please break it down so that people understand what is the thinking around, because a lot of people think if I'm a doctor, I just need to sit in the hospital. Nobody understands that you can actually make a lot of money helping people do things that doctors only know. So please break it down.
Yes. So by the way, we do need doctors sitting in hospital, just to make that point. And to be honest, I do feel slightly guilty because I'm quite a skilled doctor. I've practiced in 3 different continents over a lot of years. And so I do feel a lot of times guilty that I'm not able to use these skills that are rare, to be honest, to actually help people. But looking at the bigger picture, I feel like I'm spending my skills in a way that is more beneficial. But just to say that we do need doctors sitting in hospitals, looking after patients, those kinds of things. So beyond that, I think there's a lot of room even within, say, if you're sitting in a practice, to innovate, right? and to look at how you're serving people to make it work. And so I guess which is where I come in. So even we work with doctors, we work with pharmacies, and really we need people that have the right mindset, right? That think long term, that are innovative to be able to work with. Because what we're doing is we're pulling that risk, right, for all the people. And when we pull that risk, it means that we can actually, because part of the thing again with malaria and even a lot of conditions, you can actually modify that risk. So when we pull this risk together, we can start to give people, health education around prevention, provide them with materials to help reduce the risk and incidents. And then that reduces, the chances of us even ever needing to actually get you to go and get a test and get drugs. That's one part. The other bit is we are removing all the extra costs and fluff. And so say with malaria care, for instance, we can treat and we are treating people very well, very efficiently with high quality without actually involving a doctor or a lab. We've got a point of care testing system. It's a rapid test where you walk into a pharmacy near you, they will do this test within 10 minutes, you get a result and you get drugs. And with that, you literally get 99% of people recover. And I say 99% because what happens is when you have this insurance or this product, you don't wait till it's late. A lot of the challenges with healthcare generally and malaria specifically is people are waiting. They have a fever and they're like, oh, it might pass, it might pass. So their child has a fever and they say, oh, it might pass, it might pass. But a lot of times it does pass, but sometimes it doesn't, right? And by the time you now go, it's a bit too late. But when you know you've got this product, you're going earlier, you're getting your test earlier, you're not having any complications. And so people are surprised when we tell them, actually, we do very well because people don't wait till they're really sick. They come early, we test them early, we treat them early. And so it's actually a win-win-win for everybody involved because the healthcare provider gets paid, the patient gets well, and then we pull that risk to be able to actually extract a margin for us as a business.
Wow. So, let's talk about COVID and how it has impacted, the whole system and how it actually made us see that our healthcare is really, really not where it should be. Mm-hmm. A lot of, rich folks are really scared right now because they can't leave the country. A lot of people are afraid. So what has COVID done? Like, what do you think COVID will post and where is it today? Where, what has of COVID on what you're doing?
So the effect of COVID, we'll speak about it broadly. I think it's definitely shown the gaps in healthcare. For those of us that have been working in healthcare for years, it's a bit of I don't want to say we're happy, but I want to say we're happy because finally people are like paying attention because we've been screaming for years and years and years that we're under-investing in healthcare. People don't care. We're hoarse, a lot of us in this sector. Nobody's paying attention. And finally, COVID comes and everybody's saying, you mean it's like this? Even the secretary of the government of the Federation was surprised that things were that bad. People don't realize how bad our healthcare is. And I'm glad that finally, I'm not glad it's taken a pandemic, but I'm glad that at least there is some attention. And I hope that after this pandemic is over, whenever that is, that we can keep that attention and make sure that we have improvements that stay with us for the long term. So that's one part for the general healthcare space. For us specifically, what we found is that certainly in the early days of COVID, there was a lot of fear and uncertainty. And so people are not presenting. And so we were getting, our claims and customer interactions were going up. But with COVID, it just basically came back down, right? Because people they were just afraid to come, to present. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty. And so we've definitely seen a hit there. And so if you notice the messaging again, across the world and Nigeria is that people should start going back to hospitals for their usual things. You'll see that if you look at the data across the US and even the UK, people are dying from COVID, but people are also dying from other things. In one hospital, they said the number of heart attacks they get on average was down by 40%. People are still getting heart attacks. They're just not coming because they're afraid of COVID. And so we've seen that certainly in our case. People are still getting malaria, they're still feeling unwell, but they're not coming because of that COVID fear. But I think that's starting to plateau now. People are starting to be more comfortable, and I think they're starting to come out more. So we've seen, that has hit our business in that sense that people are just afraid, but there's certainly more interest, there's more awareness, and people are starting to come back and present and sign up.
Cool. So, let's dig a bit into why you really wanted to do this and how has technology helped your business? Like, what is it that a doctor is doing with technology? Like, why has technology really helped you?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Why am I doing this? I didn't think I'd be doing this. If you'd met me 10 years ago in, when I was finishing medical school, I would have said, nah, this is not happening. So to pick up where I left the stories, I really got interested in becoming a public health doctor. I went to a medical school in Europe, and in my public health class, there was they brought in this group of guys and ladies who had done the most phenomenal thing. And for me, I thought they were rock stars. I'll tell you what they did. The country I was in, which is Ireland, was the first country in the world to ban public smoking. And the guys that made that ban happen came to our public health class to tell us how they did it. And I was amazed at what they had done, because for me, they had changed the lives of so many people. Because of what they did, there was going to be less lung cancer, less chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, less, all those complications of smoking, because of the hard work that they put in. And so I thought to myself, why am I wasting my time, say, becoming a lung surgeon, for example, or becoming a respiratory physician, if I could prevent it from ever happening? And so that was really where the light bulb went off in my head, that I need to find solutions and look at populations and get ahead of the problem. And so, technology didn't feature. I mean, I was always an avid technology user. I would say I fit the early adopter type of person. I had a smartphone back in the early days, a Nokia, whatever. I would tinker with it. I would break it down. I'd install apps. So I was very much into technology and computers. I grew up with a computer. It was very strange in that I grew up in Abuja and we had internet at home when I was a kid, right? Which is very, very unusual for somebody, for a lot of Nigerians. But we were, I guess, privileged enough to have that opportunity. And so I was very comfortable around computers, very curious and very interested. And it was when I moved I always thought I'd be a internal medicine doctor, and then I'd go on and do public health. That was the path for me. And then I moved to a new country. I was working in New Zealand, and they had infused technology into the way they delivered care so much that I thought it was wonderful. This is how wonderful it was. I could manage my patients from home, right? All I do in the morning is go into work. I would see my patients, and then I could go home and just do the rest of my work from home. Like, people don't believe that, but that's what that was what the systems were like. This was about 5-6 years ago, because everything was in the cloud, and we were able to access all that stuff. We had electronic records, electronic prescribing. Everything was wonderful. I was like, this is amazing, and so I started to see the power of technology. And then I started to, think back home. What are the options, and what can we do? Because technology obviously is a great tool. And this was sort of 2014, where there was a lot of buzz around startups and technology in Nigeria. And I happened at the time to start to help a family member in Nigeria with their own healthcare. Then I was remote, of course. I was far away, and I was using a lot of the internet and technology. And I thought, why don't I make this into a product that people can actually benefit from, not just for me and the family member I help, but for more people. And that's kind of how I stumbled into it. And so the next thing then is I walked to my local library, and then I looked at how to start a technology business. I went to the shelf that said business. And there are 2 books I saw about technology businesses. One was a guy called Alexander Cowan. He wrote a book that's titled How to Start a Technology Business. And the second book was The Lean Startup. And so that's when I just got into it. And I guess the bug bit me then, and I haven't looked back since.
Cool. So, Lean Startup and How to Start a Technology Business are 2 books that Neto is recommending for you if you're watching this program. I have a question from Chuka, and he says, is your program focused only on malaria, or did you just start with malaria?
Yeah, we started with malaria is the anchor product, because that is the one thing that a lot of people face. But like I said, we have the hospitalization part where we actually pay you for any hospitalization that you get. And we have telemedicine. You can chat to a doctor. We have other health screenings, so heart disease screening, diabetes screening, advice around that. We even have a COVID-19 helpline that we've launched recently, where you can call up and get some advice and get connected to testing. So we have a lot of products or services around that malaria anchor. But we even have a loans product where you can get a loan to pay for your healthcare. If you don't have it, you can save. You can get health tips and health education messages, that kind of a thing. So there's a variety of features that we have, but malaria is certainly the anchor.
So 3 things I've noticed here, and I'm going to try and bring that to light. First, you had networking. You second, you listened to your environment. Yes, it was in a foreign land, but you knew that, wait, I can borrow this from abroad and bring it back home. Thirdly, you applied technology. Fourthly, you started from somewhere. You did not just go into everything. You didn't go to diabetes, COVID, malaria, everything at once. You started with one, and you're now, progressing to the others. So Chuka, basically what he's saying is, start from somewhere. Don't focus. Start from the small, and move towards the big ones. Yeah. So I guess that's the answer to that question. Chuka, if you have more questions, please post it, and it will be answered. Personally, I know Chuka, and I know he's just graduated, and he wants to also start his own technology business. He's a pharmacy, and I call him Dr. Chuka Amukama. So, Chuka, please, if you have any other questions, please do shoot your questions. So basically, it's the same thing. I've seen it with all the other people I've called onto this show. It's the same, progression. You start a business, you borrow from somewhere based on, this is what is working. You bring it to Africa, you try to expand it, but you start small. You don't start by doing everything at once. What has been your major challenges?
So, speaking of starting small, this is not where we started, right? So, I built 4 products since I returned to Nigeria because it wasn't immediately evident what was going to work. Because like you say, you look outside the country and you say, oh, those things look very great. And then you bring them back and you very quickly realize that we don't have the same environment. Right. The first one is digital literacy. Like we had a product for healthcare professionals, and they had to go, to our website to log in. And we had this lady who had paid us. She paid us quite a princely sum for a year subscription, so she saw value in it to pay, but she wasn't using the product. And so, we called her after a month and said, oh, madam, what's going on? You've paid us. You've set you up. What's going on? Why can't you log in? She said, I went to your website. There was this thing that came up on the screen. I couldn't get rid of it, and so I never came back. We had put a pop-up just to announce a new feature, and she didn't know how to close that pop-up.
Wow.
Exactly.
And that was it.
That was it. So even sort of little things like that tells you where we are at, right? You need to do a lot of, education of not even what your product is. That's even another step. It's just general digital literacy, general understanding, right? Before you even start talking of your own product. And those are some of the challenges that we faced. And so when I first got back, I had all these, highfalutin ideas about what I was going to build. I was going to do really amazing stuff. But when I saw what was on the ground, I realized that, guy, you need to relax and just work with what you have. But having said that, it meant really that I banned a lot of stuff that I came back with, and I did a lot of customer discovery. And so speaking to books to recommend, I read Steve Blank's book, The 4 Steps to the Epiphany, which is an excellent book around customer discovery. So I really applied that and went around and spoke to a lot of people to really understand the space. The other thing that helped me do beyond just understanding the customer was it built my network, because I didn't go to college in Nigeria, and I'd lost a lot of those connections. I was away for over 10 years, so I really didn't have a network. And so people look at me now and say, "Oh, you have a great network, you're very connected." I actually built that from scratch. I have friends now that I literally walked in off the street to go sell something to them, and they eventually became my friends. And so I really put myself out there. After learning all this stuff, I went and actually tried to implement and practice things to understand the market, understand the products, how they're working, and build a network as well.
Guys, listen to that. Listen to your customers. You might be selling something and your customers are saying something else. A customer could not just a pop-up on the website and the customer says, I'm not using the service again. So you need to listen to your customers. Don't do the traditional thing of just selling a product. Listen to your customers. I have another question from Chuka. He says, quick one, how do you plan to reach those in the underserved communities who suffer this malaria using your platform? Are there challenges?
Yes, and I will point you to a book actually, 0 to 1, the famous Peter Thiel book. And I always have this when I speak to people in my space, especially sort of funders and the traditional people that have been here. They talk about, oh, the poor people, the base of the pyramid, all that. But if you look, over history, over time, the poor people never paid for innovation. It always comes from the top, right? And so the answer to that is that we actually don't. Our goal is to get to the bottom of the pyramid, of course. But at the moment, we're looking at, because it's such a big market, even people that have a reasonable amount of disposable income still pay out of pocket in a way that's inefficient. So we're starting with people that are more accessible, people in urban areas, people that have a good level of income, starting with them so that they pay for the innovation. We learn with them, we provide the rails to provide a cheaper and more accessible product for the bottom, and then eventually go and serve them. So at the moment, we're not really looking to serve them because they're just too expensive and difficult to reach. The people in urban areas that have more money are much easier to reach, and they'll help us to build the innovation and scale it to a place where we can make it even cheaper and more accessible.
I will add to that. I agree with you 100%. It has always been this question of Nigeria has 200 million people. Why not focus on the 90-something million people that are at the bottom of the pyramid? And you ask yourself, wait, these guys are not going to be paying for this service. It's going to be difficult for them to pay. So why not make the money from the top guys, then trickle that down into the smaller spaces where you can now make consumable products for them? So Chuka, start with the big players, start with people that can pay for your service, then trickle it down to people that can't pay for your service, rather than go the other way around. Yes, there are too many people, but they might not be able to pay for your service. So, and that's the truthful answer. We claim here that we always tell you the truth. We don't miss words, or we don't try to paint it as good as it can be. Nigeria is tough, but you need to be able to be wise enough to do the right things to get the right results. Neto, what do you think is the future? Like, I have had different conversations around this space, around technology, around people suffering every day. Those that have the network, those that don't have the network, those that have the wherewithal, they don't know what to do. How do you think that we can actually all learn together as we grow? What do you see in the future when it comes to entrepreneurship in Nigeria? How would you say it play out?
I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm naturally optimistic. And so what I would say is I'm super optimistic about it. It's clear to see that there's more skilled people coming in, there's more resources, there's more capital. So I'm really bullish about the future. Having said that, I'm a realist as well, right? And so I do a lot of work around. So I started a group called Digital Health Nigeria, and that's a group of people working in digital health, entrepreneurs in particular, that can come together and collaborate, share learnings, have a shoulder to cry on as we face the difficulties together. And as part of that, I was writing a newsletter for a time. Fortunately, stopped. And what I was aiming to do with that was to point out the challenges, right, that we face, and spur people to try and attack those and overcome them. I think sometimes people can be, naturally as entrepreneurs, too optimistic and not really that realistic around what the challenges are and what we must do to overcome those challenges. And I think it's important that we are clear about those, which is why obviously I love what you're doing here. And I'm super collaborative and always love and open to tell people my own experience and try and help them to overcome whatever it is they're facing. I'd say totally bullish on entrepreneurship. Collaboration is key. I don't think we're great at doing that just yet. People are not very open. A lot of my learning has been from books and from blogs. And unfortunately, a lot of those books and blogs are not local books and blogs, right? It's people in the US, people in Europe, people in Asia even. Unfortunately, we are not great at sharing. There's a handful of people that are great. I have to plug Jason from Iroko. He was like, for years and years and years, I followed him and just gained a lot of inspiration and motivation from his work. And I really would encourage other entrepreneurs to spend some time to put out content around what they're learning, what they're doing, and how to overcome challenges. I think that will really help to spur and build us to where we need to be a lot faster. I think we'll ultimately get there, but we can accelerate if we're working together and sharing learnings along the way.
How do people join this? So you talk about the group. How do people join this group? How do people join?
Yeah, so the best thing is to reach out to me on Twitter. Doc Neto is my Twitter handle. I'm sure you'll share it, Simeon.
Yeah,
But that's the best thing, and then we
Dr.
can,
Neto, right?
yeah, Doc Neto. That's DOCNETO. Join them. Just reach out to me. Send me a message. My DMs are open, and I can connect you there. The large number of people working in digital health, entrepreneurship. I'd be happy to help and speak to you. I certainly will be, and always looking to give.
Cool. And guys, please listen. Okay, Chika says today's program is just for me. I will ask all my questions. Pardon me. Okay, so before I take Chika's question, I need to take Olamide's question. And Olamide is asking, how do I subscribe for the service? Who can subscribe for this service? And is there a criteria to subscribe for the service?
So it's super easy. So you can go onto our website. The website is www.wellahealth.com. We've even got a USSD code. So that's *347 *96 hash. But online is super easy at wellahealth.com. And then you can, subscribe on there and pay online, or you can message somebody, drop your number, and they'll call you back. So it's very, very, very easy.
So please, guys, just so that you know, we are cooking up something together, Wellahealth and Connected Analytics, and we are going to be getting some wonderful deals for you guys. I like particularly the 100K that will be given to me if I get hospitalized. That's what I like best.
We'll make you out 200K, Simeon.
Sorry, it's not 200K.
We'll make you just for you.
Okay, so I don't need to pay for healthcare anymore, and we're going to be working on that. So one question, Chuka is like really posting more questions and more questions so that I can just get his attention. So he said, please forgive me my question on the telemedicine part. Some persons say it is not the best since there is no room for physical examination. Please, what is your take on this?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and there's a lot of debate around this, right? And I think over time there's going to be a new practice called, the virtual medicine practitioner. It will be a dedicated specialty, or at least dedicated skills where people will have to go and learn. Because I think there is something about it that's different to your traditional way of actually seeing and managing patients. And so yes, it is not, quite like the physical visit, but from the research, if I recall right, something about 60 to 70% of conditions can actually be diagnosed via just a history alone, right? So if you have a good history, and if you have a way to have some type of investigation, because a lot of times this telemedicine is actually connected to a device, say, or a local place where you can actually go and get a test done. And even with examinations as well, depending on the country you're in, for example, there's devices. You can use your smartphone. The ear, nose, and throat doctors are becoming very good at using smartphones to do different things. So I think the technology is catching up and people are getting into it. I think there's more pros than cons. And what we're doing as well, because we have a network of providers that we work with, especially in the pharmacy space, is using that as a tool where the rubber hits the road, where if you have a telemedicine event, you can actually go into a pharmacy to complete the rest of it, whether it's a test, a point of care test, whether it's drugs or something else. So I think that it actually gives us the room to do a lot more. And then if you're not able to cover all of that, you can then go on to get a physical exam, which the doctors are able to refer you for. Yeah.
So it's a start. Chuka, it's a start. Let's start from somewhere, then we go to the next level. So telemedicine might not be all that yet, but it's catching on. A lot of people are using it and it's working for them. I know Wellahealth, I know Helium Health. They're amazing guys doing amazing stuff in Africa. If you want to reach Neto, Neto's email is neto@wellahealth.com. He has asked me to publish his phone number, but I'm a bit careful about that because you will get 20 million phone calls today. But reach him by email or reach me and I'll do a personal intro and I can now share his phone number with you so you can actually get to put him within your network and you'll be able to work with him based on what they're working on. It's a huge industry. And the idea for this program, like I always say, is to connect people, to get people doing, stuff and ultimately helping Nigeria grow. And we can get to the larger African market and helping Africa grow. We can only solve our own problems ourselves. And we have the kind of people that can do it, both locally trained and foreign trained guys coming together to make sure that these things work. I mean, thank you very much so far for the questions. Please keep throwing in your questions. We have a short time to go. We have about 10 more minutes on the show. And at this point, I'm going to be talking about what we're doing with Wellahealth. We're going to be giving a lot of deals to people. The idea is to make sure that people get healthcare as fast as they can when they can get it. And I'll be publishing these deals in times to come. In the next couple of episodes, I'll be publishing this so that we fine-tune everything and make sure that it is worth it for every single person. So if you have time, you could write it down. It's wellahealth.com. Go to Wellahealth and see what they are doing. They are doing amazing stuff. These are guys that are very quiet, but they are killing it. They are doing tens of thousands of people. They are helping them get through these trying times. Even COVID, they now have, I mean, let's talk about that. You were chosen as one of the seven or eight African companies that were going to help within this COVID era. I saw you publish on most dailies and stuff like that. Tell us more about it. What are you doing for COVID?
Yes. So with COVID, I mean, it's a pandemic, right? So millions of us are at risk. There's already millions of cases. And so technology is central to that. And so we built a platform that helps the authorities that are managing COVID understand what the resources are for managing COVID and the utilization of them and apply them appropriately. So for example, in Lagos, you've got, theoretical number 100 beds for isolation. And now you've got 50 cases. That's fine, right? 50% of your beds are occupied. The next week, now you've got 200 cases, right? And you've got 50 from the last week. Some of them are still there at varying points. Some are going, some are coming. You have to understand what your utilization is like. You have to understand how to allocate the new people that are testing positive into those beds. The people in those beds, you've got to understand who's getting sick, who isn't, who needs to, go on to critical care like an ICU, who needs oxygen, do I have enough oxygen, have enough ICU beds? So it's really that resource utilization allocation. We built a software tool to help them to visualize it and make those decisions in an intelligent way. So that is the solution that we've built, and we're having it actually being used in a couple of states in Nigeria.
Wow. So you are helping us with the COVID issue. I mean, this is the point where I ask you to advise the people listening in, health practitioners, medical people, school leavers that have just left school, staff that are working within the space. What is your one advice you would give to all those people together?
That's such a wide group of people. They say we should segment our customers, isn't it? I think, I don't know. I think one central thing perhaps that I've learned is that, well, maybe more than one, but I think it's important to not lose hope, certainly, and to try. I find a lot of us in Nigeria have sort of checked out, right? I remember I went to university a couple of years ago to talk about the work I was doing, and I finished describing it, and one of the lecturers actually said, "For this Nigeria, I'm a lie."
Wow.
Right? So a lot of us don't even believe, right? We don't even want to put in the effort. We don't want to try. So I think we need more people that believe and hope for a better future and put in the efforts to make that happen. I think there's a disconnect between that ego better that people say and the actual doing of it, right? So for people that don't believe, I want to say believe, right? Have faith, because we can be pessimistic. I mean, do we all go jump off a bridge? We can't do that, right? The only choice is to be optimistic, to have hope. And when you do that, don't leave it there. You actually need to go out and do something, right? So that is really what I leave and say, have hope and then act on that and do things. And you will find that as you do that, things will start to come into your favor. Things will, just somehow align, and you'll see a lot of progress. I mean, the amount of progress made has really been as a result of applying those.
Beautiful. So please believe. Ego better, yes, but believe that it will actually be better, and we can make Africa a great place for ourselves. Thank you very much, Neto. Thank you for coming. I don't have any more questions. I believe that you've done justice. Like I said, Neto is just 32, and the boy is doing some amazing stuff. Thank you very much. I'll be connecting you with a lot of people. A lot of people are pushing messages. Hey, I want to be connected to Neto. Hey, I want to be connected to Neto. And definitely you would get connected. I have shared his Twitter handle, is Doc Neto. I've also shared his email, neto@wellahealth.com. You can reach Neto anytime. I tell people it's all about connecting. Connect people, connect everything. Our network, show me your network, I show you how much you're worth. And that's my principle. That's what I believe in, and we'll keep connecting people. Thank you once again for coming. I know it was short notice, but you still made it through. Thank you very, very much. I hope when I call on you next time, you will be available to grace us with your presence. I really, really appreciate you, Neto. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm always happy to jump on anytime.
Cool. Thank you. So, guys, that was Neto, and he talked about what he was doing. And like I always say, young Africans, young Nigerians are doing a great deal of things in our space. If you have anything you want to start, if you want advice around medical, please shoot me an email, and I'll connect you with Neto. The idea, like I always say about this program, is connecting people, connecting things, and sharing ideas and thoughts around this. We're going to share everything from investments to ideas to realities of things that are going to be happening, and hopefully we will stop complaining and start building Africa together. Nobody's coming to help us. We can help ourselves. So till next time, on Friday, please, I'll be bringing some interesting guys around. We'll be bringing some investors around. So if you have a business and you want to be invested in, if you have ideas that you want to share, please, this is your program. You'll be locked with someone, and you will definitely get the best out of it. Thank you for coming, and thank you for joining us. If you want to watch the program afterwards, you head up to our YouTube channel, Connect with Simeon, and you can watch all the episodes, any of the episodes, the ones that I have dealt with in investments, the ones that I've dealt with entrepreneurship. You can always get those there. Thank you, and thank you for being part of the show. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that is listening today. Thank you for being there. God bless you. Till Friday, this is me saying ciao.
Look around you. Where you are right now, as you're watching this, look around your house. There are tools you have you're not using that can actually fetch you a whole lot of funds.
Forget about what people are saying. Don't listen to what people are. What people say about you or think about you is none of your business.
Many entrepreneurs want to build a business at the same time feed from the business. It cannot work. In Lagos,
but you just get to do something. Stop waiting for manna to fall from heaven.
never you at any point think you have 100% strength. It's not possible. So as a leader, you focus on your strength 100%, then your weakness, you get someone to fill it in. Now, the person you are bringing in, ensure that the person's weakness is your strength.
You have to come with something to the table. So what are you coming with as a woman? What are you bringing? Is it your intellect? Is it your beauty? We all know that beauty doesn't help anybody. If not, I'll be where Dangote is today.
Please, if you are listening to me, don't try and sell what is not sellable if you don't have the funds to push it.
Thank you for connecting with Simeon Ononobi today. Live sessions hold every Tuesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Please turn on post notifications for live updates.